Everybody, Brian Good here. Quick blog update today, mainly focusing on the afternoon setup. 58 here in town, 61 in Columbia. We have the cloud cover certainly thickening up and lowering as the warm front showers are now approaching. We've had reports of some pea-sized hail. Can't rule that out, especially in our southern and southeast sections there where the hail potential is certainly there that came through Bowling Green. Pea-sized hail was reported. It's all part of the warm front itself that is now located basically right along the Ohio River, if you will, all the way down to about Marion County. And then we've got the low pressure itself, which you can see the actual spin to this low as it begins to move through the area. But here's what's interesting. It's moving fast to the east. The main focus today is going to be the track of that low. Anywhere in southeast of that track is going to be the concern, if you will, for the severe weather. The question we're going to have is how unstable are we going to get after this warm front moves in? How far north is that bad boy going to go to determine how this warm sector plays out for the afternoon period? Looking at the visible satellite, which we're just now starting to get an image of, there are some breaks in there where we're getting some hints of sunshine and some modest heating, if you will. And I do think we will get some heating in here. I'm not sure exactly how warm we'll get because the thing is, it won't take long for thunderstorms to react to that and develop. Cells should quickly fill in. Now, the models are very conflicted on how to handle what is happening here. Is this going to rotate around and become more of an arc of thunderstorms that will intensify and then work their way to the east? Or is this going to stabilize this section here of the entire low path? And this severe risk then ends up being more advance of it in this general zone, just like this. So still some questions here, guys. This is not set in stone, and they never are. But we got to take these, an hour at a time. We've got to make sure all the different parameters are all lined up, and that's a key factor in this. We see the moisture, the deeper amounts of moisture still south of the warm front. There's no doubt on that. I mean, you definitely see our higher dew points right in here. I mean, this is a spot that is prime for development of thunderstorms. All they need is the wind energy and the trigger, and that's coming. For us, it's not so clear-cut because of this warm front coming through here. With it being ahead of schedule, though, that is allowing for us to have at least a better chance to get some warming in place as the warm sector takes hold of our area. So they've moved that enhanced risk more to the northeast, and then the slight risk more to the east. Not much has really changed for Indiana because, again, the more you're right along the path of the low and north of it, it's not much of an issue here. But the more you are in Kentucky, I think you're certainly more at risk for severe weather than Indiana. It wouldn't surprise me, though, to see the trends, and I'll show you in the models in a second, that this enhanced area is more than likely going to look something like this. I mean, a little more southeast of Louisville. Looks a little more likely for an enhanced based on some of the stuff I'm looking at. But we'll see how it plays out. Tornado potential, it's low, but it's not zero. That's all you need to know. Damage and wind potential is the higher issue. It's more of a threat. Severe thunderstorm warnings, 58 miles per hour could be reached, especially once they organize. They may start off as cells, and that's when we got to watch them for sure for an isolated tornado potential. But once they merge into clusters, and then we get into more lines and Boeing segments, as they say, then you get into more of the damage and wind threat. Large hail potential, it's there. Nothing like what they saw in Oklahoma yesterday, but potential is there for us to see perhaps up to quarter-size hail, if not a bit larger. It all depends on how warm we get, really, to get these cumulonimbus clouds all the way up there into that freezing level that's fairly low. But if we don't get that much warming, if we don't get a chance to get enough sun to warm things up, then we're not going to have that much of a push upward for that to happen. So that's kind of iffy still. Show you a couple of the models. Here's the RPM. It's showing the warm front rains pretty much fading out. By the time we head toward a midday, it begins to fade out that band as it pushes into Indiana. And then we get into the afternoon, and it is leaning more toward a Boeing segment, almost like a little MCV is what we call this little feature here, which can be more of a damage wind threat and then tornado threat right in here where these cells merge together. But look how warm we get ahead of this. And this is why forecasting high today was tough. I kept with the 75, and I'm going to keep with it because the potential is there for us in the warm sector to get the 75 or higher. That's there. I mean, I can't argue against that. But I can see why Jasper would be 58 too. Once you get that rain, you're going to cool off. So this is at 5 o'clock this evening, and it looks like the RPM is saying that's the main show. not so much with the low. That's an interesting trend there on the RPM model. Here's the HRRR model. As we head toward midday, it 2 hints at a fading out of the warm front, but then there goes those cells firing up around 3, 4 o'clock. Temperatures, it's got 79 in Somerset, near 70 here, and they pass through about 7 o'clock. So there's at least 2 models now, the new updates. I'm seeing these for the first time as you all are, that are leading toward a faster progression, which again would take more advantage in the heating of the day. But I think it's going to be more of an arc enhanced risk that may go a little more southeast, but we'll see how it plays out. Here's the instability, and you can see this is from the RAP model from the SPC site. You can see where the higher instability is kind of shaped like that too, southeast of that low track. You look at the wind shear, 40 knots is a good benchmark. It's there as well. When you look at the helicity, which is going to be common ahead of a path of a low, 300 is usually what I look at for a raise your eyebrow kind of idea for tornado potential. And it's showing about 200 in 2 spots here, which is not low, but it's not off the chain tornado outbreak scenario. It does indicate supercell is a little more likely where there is more sun coming out right now, and that would make sense. So Memphis certainly isn't a spot for a greater tornado potential right in through here. We would be a little more iffy, and if we look at our area, it looks to be alone in south of the parkways, and the tornado potential, at least for potential for a couple of strong tornadoes, it's not off the chain either, but it is elevated a bit right there in that sector. So this looks to be the best chance for a tornado watch box to get issued, something like this today. How far north and east that, if they were to issue one, or would it be a separate box altogether, that I don't know. I do think we'll be under some kind of a watch that will impact this general zone today at some point. And I don't know if it's 1 box or 2, but that's the way it's looking right now, guys. So stay with us. We'll keep you updated. Just keep in mind that once we get past this, we have another potential outbreak of severe weather our west on Wednesday night. By the time it reaches here, this looks to be a late Thursday event, but the timing could change on that too. But right now, at least they have us highlighted in our southern counties for that. We'll worry about that later.